Look at this. Let me get that down. Getting some of the treats from Love for Animals. Hey. Here. 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 Oh yeah. Here. Get on. Here. Yeah, it breaks my heart for guys like this. He's so gentle and so kind. He's got a great personality. He's a soft spirit. He loves attention. He loves to be loved on. And as you can see, he can be fully trusted. When you allow him to trust you, and when you give him the right stuff, you know, if he would have went to a shelter or a pound or something, he'd have probably been put down because of his aggression. And his aggression is only because people failed him. They failed to get help, you know, something happened and, and they allowed it to get out of control. You know, instead of finding help, you know, even a trainer could have worked with this guy in the beginning. You know, I'm pretty fortunate to have him. Because he is so gentle and so kind. I mean, the second that you touch this guy, you can feel that. You can feel his compassion. Yeah, he's big, and he's intimidating to some people, and he's scary looking, and he's a little bit forward. Hey. But he's just been simply misunderstood. And because they didn't know anything about dogs, you know, he's lived a long life like that, when he could have been living a life like this. Unfortunately, he's got to stay in the kennel. We work all the time. You know, he gets out of here quite a bit. We go for a walk every evening. He's being a little pushy right now, you know. That was the excited dominance. And that's why I say that you can't leave a dog like that, because it ruins them. It just ruins them. I mean, he is completely just full of love and goodness and so much gentleness for such a big, scary dog. He's so gentle. Like I said, he's a Chow Husky mix. I'm pretty sure that's what he is. He's definitely got some Chow. And he's a giant dog. Really big. And like I said, he's very intimidating. And it's funny, people are scared of the big dogs, and they're usually the softest and the sweetest. You know, it's those little brats you got to watch out for. But anyway, this guy, you know, he's just so sweet. Here. And it just breaks my heart. Far more than, you know, seeing them out running free or whatever. Because at least then they can live like an animal should. You know, pretty soon he won't have to stay in the kennel all the time. I'm going to get him introduced to the other dogs, and hopefully they'll all get along pretty well. And, you know, I'll have to work on getting him to stay around, because being on the chain forever, he's got so much energy, so much physical energy packed into his little brain, where he hasn't had any exercise, really, other than a little bit of walking. You know, but we're going to get him doing all kinds of stuff, learning some tricks. And, you know, he loves those walks we go on. I mean, he had a blast last night and the night before that. He's got some reaction to the deer we see, but not much. You know, he comes off of it pretty quick. But you can see this, you know, and what happens typically is the dogs get excited, or they become afraid, and they become aggressive, and then the people, instead of working with them as puppies or whatever, they, you know, they get frustrated and they get mad and they put them on a chain, or they leave them in a crate forever, which only makes things worse. It increases their level of distrust. It increases their pent up energy they get in their brain from the lack of exercise, the lack of mental stimulation. You know, they get all that stuff, and man, people need to just get it the fuck together and stop being a bunch of assholes. You know, even you rescuers, you adopters, people that work in the shelters, you know, y'all think you're doing good for the dogs. And there's one shelter, they work with the dogs pretty well that I know of. And, you know, I'm proud to hear that. I wish they would come and get a bit of education, though, because I've got a lot of information to give. Way more than really anybody that I've ever met has. But I do applaud them for working with the dogs and you know, trying to help them over their issues, their fear, and some dog aggressive. But again, that dog aggressive is really dangerous, and you're just a shelter volunteer, and you're trying to introduce dogs and their aggressive dogs to each other, and you don't know what you're doing. You don't have any experience with it, man, you're really in trouble. I mean, I'm telling you right now, you are really just setting it up for something bad to happen to you and the dog. So all you shelters, all you rescues, you know, you can come and see me. I've got a wealth of information on the dogs, the animals, things that you've never even known. I can teach you how to do things. I can teach you how to deal with them. I can teach you how to introduce them to other dogs properly. I can show you what to do with a dog, aggressive dog. But anyway, you know, get some help for your dog. I mean, if they live excited and they live fearful, you know, that's an unstable mind. And you know, you might be afraid to stand up and speak in public, or you might be afraid to, you know, whatever. But you got to break those fears. You got to get over them. You got to work through that stuff the same as the dogs do, because it just makes you unstable. Anyway, give me one more, Lee. Okay. Come on. Come on. Like I said, he's so gentle and so kind. Can't believe he's like this. It breaks my heart.